What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. As y'all know, it's right down there. It's free. That enables us to keep coming to you guys as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. Please tell a friend so we can keep growing and get to that next level of the game. Please hit that subscribe button. Hit us on Cash App if you like, Unique Access ENT. Like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it. Each one, teach one, and we appreciate you guys' support getting us this far. Now, today we have the honor and privilege of being joined by the Grand Imperial, the mighty King Son. Thank you for coming through, sir.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, very exciting. King Son's put in a lot of great work over the years and still is, and we're excited to talk to you. So I wanted to take it back to the 80s in the Bronx. I was always intrigued that I knew very little about Zakiyah Records other than you and Eric B. and Rakim. So how did you get with Zakiyah Records?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Eric B. and Rakim, but you don't remember Cutmaster D.C.?
Who produced on it, yes.
But he also was an artist and one hell of a DJ with Brooklyn's in the House.
Right.
And, you know, he was one of the artists that put Brooklyn on the map. So Cutmaster D.C. and Cutmaster D.C. and Eric B. and Rakim, when they had first come out, you know, this was like their little promotional thing. So they'd come to a club out in New Jersey, out in Patterson. And so I'd gone to see them. So when I'd gone to see them, I wasn't really trying to be a rapper. I just could freestyle off the top because I was a Mo D fan, a DLB fan, Houdini, like all the sharpest MCs from back in the day when I was young, a teenager. Flash, Melly Mel, Cold Crush. You know, I was a fan of theirs, so I would be able to quote their lyrics, but then I would be able to throw mine in. So through that, I was able to start freestyle. So I would freestyle when I was amongst the gods. I would freestyle and snap on people and just be able to see it and say it. So I did that in front of DC. And the owner of Zakiyah Records was there, who was Robert Hill. So he was like, hey, man, you nice. You're doing that off the top. So he wound up giving me a card and said, yo, come see me at the label. So when DC did the show, he said, look, what I want you to do, because DC was one of the first artists, and I think probably the only artist who was doing tricks, like cutting with basketballs and bike tires and behind the back and doing all that. So he asked me to, while he was performing, while he was DJing, he asked me to come and freestyle about what he was doing. Sort of like Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff, when they did their little thing like that. So I did that, popped off, you know, people dug it. So when I went to Zakiyah Records, you know, the guy, Robert Hill, he couldn't meet with me because he was on his way out of town, but he gave me $10,000 and gave me the contract. He said, if you don't sign the contract, bring me back the money minus your legal fees. So in all reality, he was saying, get a lawyer, check out the contract. And, you know, so I had the lawyer check it out. And he said, it's a good contract. Actually, it's a real good contract because it wasn't, I was getting 10% of retail, where most record labels give you like 5% of wholesale. So I was getting 10% of the retail price. I'm getting 70 cents. I'm getting 10 cents off a dollar when everybody else is getting like 10 cents off of 50 cents. So it was a good contract, man. And, you know, he put us in the studio and he put us in, first time I've ever been in the studio, as well as a big, you know, 24 track, $100 an hour studio. So he was like, yo, DC said, yo, you in the business now, brother. This session is going to cost $1,000. And it wasn't coming out of my 10. My 10 was just for me signing. So myself and a brother named Anthony Moody, who we wound up later naming Demo Wet, we didn't even have a name. We didn't have a demo, nothing, but Zakiyah Records believed in us.
So with that, and with Cutmaster DC seeing you go off the top and everything, and knowing how like powerful your presence is, how did you end up doing Hey Love?
Well, I did Hey Love with Art of Noise, I used Art of Noise because I was locked up. I was doing 2 years out in Jersey. And I always used to hear, remember after the Art of Noise, they had eat 'em up. I forget the name of that. But you know, the other side to that they had come out with was Moments in Love. So I always used to hear that when I was locked up. And I always used to envision like a Blue Magic or a Whisper, somebody singing to that. And I said I would make something of that. So when I had got out, and one of my brothers, rest in peace, named Starborn, he was recording with D. Moet and another brother named E.F. Cutton. And, you know, they were extraordinary DJs and producers from out in Teaneck. So, you know, when I heard what he was doing with them, so then when he brought me to their studio, he told them, you got to hear his son. He told me, yo, you got to hear these cats. And I went to the basement and everything, and I was looking through their crates, and I saw the actual record, Moments in Love. And so I was like, yo, I wanted to make something of this. So then my man played it, and he played it slow. And then remember the old DX, the DMX drum machines, the big with the toms? They start throwing a little beat to that, and I just kind of like freestyled the Low Love scenario. And then I just was going, hey, love, from drinking that cheap Wild Irish Rose wine. That's what we used to drink for the high. And so, you know, out of that, you know, E.F. Cutton and D. Moet, they made it nice. And that was a little demo. So, but you know, it was rough, but it was like for the hood, it was crazy. And their music always sound professional. And, you know, boom, when we had that, and they was like, yo, we'll play this for Zakiyah Records. So when we played that for D.C., D.C. was like, yo, I think that's ill. And at that time, Europe was big on hip hop and all that with Supreme Team and Malcolm McLaren and them. So when we did that, you know, it popped off. But DC was like, yo, we can't actually use this record because we'll get sued. So he replayed it all. He could play keys. Shout out to Cutmaster DC, by the way. A real good brother, man. I love him. And, you know, I got to call him. You reminded me. But, you know, he believed in us, man. And Robert Hill from Zakiyah Records, you know, I think DC even got Eric B and them signed, man. And from there, man, they was like, yo, after that popped off, it was Chuck Chillout from the Bronx, it was Red Alert. Chuck Chillout, like mythological rap. And
I was going to say, the A side and the B side with mythological rapper couldn't be more different. But
right, because one, I was trying to be Spoonie G. I was trying to be a love rapper to pay homage to Spoonie, you know, because Spoonie always was cool. And, you know, rapping to the girls like that. But then the mythological rapper, which was a Tina Marie sample of Shangri-La, which is a hot song. And that Shangri-La, you know, that made me try to get at the LLs and the Mo D's and the, you know, the real MCs. And, you know, so Zakiyah said, yo, all right, we'll do this. We're going to put out the love because ain't nobody really doing it. I Need Love wasn't out yet. LL ain't do that yet. You know what I mean? So that Hey Love, but they described it in Billboard as that deep, monotone, heartbroken, lovesick rapper. And Nelson George said that, by the way.
Nice.
And, you know, that Hey Love took me. But whenever it came to being an MC, like, rah, you know, it was that mythological rapper.
And then how did that lead to doing On the Club Tip and then with Zakiyah partnering with Profile for what would become XL?
Well, that wasn't, my actual deal was supposed to be Zakiyah, MCA, but somehow or another, when Zakiyah Records went to MCA to sign King's Son, they had already signed Eric B and Rakim to 4th and Broadway. It's even on the record when Eric B is saying, yo, so our record label is Zakiyah 4th and Broadway. So somehow or another, Eric B managed to get a deal and sign Rakim to MCA and take that deal I had. So Zakiyah Records felt kind of bad about that. And so he said, well, I signed you with Profile because Run-DMC was hot. So I figured anywhere Run-DMC would sell, your records would sell. Like anywhere they promote Run-DMC, they would promote you. But it didn't work like that because Profile really didn't care. No disrespect. They didn't care about Run-DMC. They didn't care about Dana Dane. They didn't care about special ed, poor righteous teachers, and nobody else. Corey Robbins got his money, and he would always tell you, I'm not a welfare office. Don't come looking to me for money.
I also understand you got a GoFundMe.
Yeah, well, you know, it's on my Facebook page. And, you know, I sort of fell on hard times, you know, around the time that, you know, just before DMX passed. And DMX was one of my brothers. You know, Yonkers is up there next to the Northeast Bronx. So, you know, it's like with DMX passing and then Black Rob was sick. And I didn't get a chance to get at Black Rob. And Black Rob, though he was from Harlem, used to run up in the Bronx with us, as well as like Puff Daddy, you know, he from up there. And my man Wolf. With Black Rob passing and everything, and I saw somebody interviewing him, like while he's in the hospital, gravely ill, somebody wanted to interview him, ask him how he feel about DMX dying, which I felt was in very poor taste, you know, so it just made me, you know, I go on Facebook when I really have something to say, so I just went on to say peace to Black Rob and peace to DMX, and, you know, I just wanted to say to the public, you know, a lot of us got jerked, man. A lot of us, we got hit songs that went platinum, and we didn't get our just due because the people who got paid from that, the record labels, you know, they tell you one thing and they put something out there and then they do another. But you don't expect that from, you know, Black record labels and urban record labels, you understand, to get jerked like that. And a lot of us, you know, we have pride, so we don't, you know, like you could have bought a million King Son records, but I ain't see that money. And this goes back with Black entertainment all the way back to like Cadillac Records and Motown and record labels like that. So when a lot of artists fall on hard times, man, and they die in obscurity. Craig Mack passed away like that, man. And you always hear Flavor of the Air, and you always hear like Biggie and LL, that Craig Mack Flavor in Your Ear remix and Puffy dancing. But why should that man have died the way he died, alone and with no help? So I seen like, well, my girl, she seen a lady trying to raise $2,000 to buy ice cream that her nephew ordered online. And she raised like over $10,000, $15,000. So my girl said, well, look, let's see how the hip hop community feels about, you know, a living artist. And, you know, she set up the GoFundMe, and I'm like, nah, I don't want people to think I'm begging. And she's like, look, you fucked up right now, but I'm fucked up with you. I'm running through it with you. So she set up the GoFundMe. She set up the Cash App, the Venmo. And a lot of hip hop fans, like do or die hip hop fans, you know what I mean, been supporting and do what they could do. And it's like, you know, my goal is just like 5,000 to not be homeless. You know, I was sleeping in my car and because I moved from Kentucky to Virginia. I moved to Virginia because I figured I had people out there and people that I knew from the past and in hip hop, and I figured Virginia is a nice place. So it didn't turn out that the way that I thought it did, but I just stuck it out because Virginia is more closer to New York, it's closer to home. And I know Virginia as a whole, the people are nice and, you know, a different state of mind. So that's where I've been for the past month or past 2 months now. And so, you know, I'm just striving to reach that goal, man. So, you know, I just wanted to say to everybody, any of your listeners that's watching, man, if you want to contribute to the King Son cause, you know, I got the GoFundMe, the Cash App. You can just go to my Facebook page, King Son, capital King, capital SUN, and go to About or just find the link for the GoFundMe, man. And any little thing can help, man. But with mine, once I'm back on, and once I'm back just on solid ground, I'm giving back. Because outside of me getting back on my feet, myself and my manager, who has helped me, and this brother became my manager through helping me, the brother Jalil and Zine Management out in Kansas. So that's one brother who should be tuned in and who's on. And, you know, through that brother, my help, and Mick Benson, is like, you know, we starting a starving artist, like starving artist fund, where artists back in the day, you know, you fall on hard times, like a VA for hip hop, or like a social security for old school hip hop artists, man, who don't have nothing. Call on the God, King's Son. King's Son gonna get out there and start raising money and help you in any way we can. Touch these entertainers. If you got money, if you watch King's Son and you're an artist now, when you was popping, and you could go spend $100,000 to buy a car or $100,000 on a chain, man. Why can't you throw a little $1,000? If 10 people threw $1,000 to a brother, that's $10,000 easy.
Yeah.
You feel me?
It goes a long way. Well, I'm glad.
It goes a long way. And as well as, like I said, as to pay it forward and pay it back. And even for the people, and this is what I want you to do, for the people that contact me through you on the GoFundMe or the Cash App, whatever, I want you to give them my information so I could build with them personally. And once I'm back just on solid regular, to not be homeless, to not be fucked up. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke weed. I don't drink. You know what I mean? I've never been on drugs. I'm still God body. I'm still 5% righteousness. It's a lot of gods and earths out there, man. You know, I'm just calling on the family. This is what the gods call an Allahu Akbar. It's not like a war call to kill people. When the gods say Allahu Akbar, that's like 911 back in the day on beats. It's an emergency. We need help. SOS.
Right.
And our company is SAS, Starving Artist Support. We haven't started it yet, but it's still in the framework. I can't save somebody if I'm drowning. So this is what I'm asking, man. Help, little $5, $10, whatever. But, you know, let's show and prove through hip hop, man, that we can look out for our artists, man.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.